we've got new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions interim.
No. They are fully the tag team champions.
They're the full ones?
Yeah. Well, Banks and Naomi vacated the belt.
Vacated, of course. Huh. Wow. So they're the full-on Women's Tag Team Champions.
It sure is them.
Aliyah. She's been there since 2015.
Aliyah is, and she was in NXT for a long time. Like, me and Laurie used to do it as a running joke that she'll never get called up to the main roster.
She didn't just get called up, mate. She's the Women's Tag Team Champion.
I know.
One half of.
She was in her own hometown last week. Silence.
Nobody knew her.
Yeah.
But
now,
good for her.
Good for her.
Good for her and Raquel Rodriguez.
They looked very happy.
Yes. Well, that's their character. They're happy. They hug each other. Roll up.
They have got zero chemistry. Okay, no, you do the intro, then we'll do this.
Welcome to the WWE Raw Review Podcast. I'm Ollie Davis. I'm joined by Luco and DAD. Please, if you haven't already, give us a subscribe. Press the thumbs up button. Help the algorithm. Leave a comment if you're watching on the on-demand version with your thoughts on Raw. And send in the Ultrachats, not to the usual link, because something's gone wrong.
The link is our short link. No, what's it called?
It's like our redirect.
WrestleTalk.com.
God,
you can tell I haven't worked on websites for a year. I forgot what it is. The redirect currently isn't working, so you have to go directly to the link, but our moderators are spamming it in the chat, and it is posted in the video description down below. So use that link, not the huge link.
Yeah, the one that says WT Clips.
Actually, it was actually just WrestleTalk Clips.
WrestleTalk Clips. God, the Halison days.
Yeah.
WrestleTalk Clips.
That was like 5 names ago for this channel.
Yeah. Wrestle 2.
Yeah, do you remember that one?
Wrestle 2. Good times. That's this episode of Raw. First up, loved a lot of it.
Great episode of Raw.
I would say this is another great 2-hour show.
I would slightly disagree with that. I actually thought this was a very good, not going to use the word great, a very good 3-hour show. No. A good 3-hour show that just had a finish that made me go, huh.
Yes. So this is the main event. I like that WWE are actually putting the main events on in the end of the 3rd hour, no matter what the numbers say, because it does make the whole experience of watching the episode feel right. That's the way things should pan out. And it was the final of the Women's Tag Team title tournament, which has been going on since
SummerSlam.
Yeah, the week after SummerSlam. It was announced a lot longer ago than that. And it's been a bit of a botched tournament. We had some people get pulled due to injury or other reasons.
Yeah, so Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark, who were supposed to be the NXT call-ups from this, Stark was reportedly injured and Lyons was occupado. And then they were replaced by Toxic Attraction, who then beat Natalya and Sonya Deville. And then Gigi Dolan got injured of Toxic Attraction. So then Natalya and Sonya Deville had a fatal 4-way match with Nikki ASH and Doudrop and Xia Li and Shotzi and, don't tell me, Dana Brooke and Tamina. It went 90 seconds and Sonya and Natalya won. And then they lost to Raquel and Aliyah later on that night. It was quite poor.
This is why you're so good at Quizzlemania. You said every one of those names.
Thanks, mate.
And I don't know if they're right. But you said it with such confidence.
I mean, I'm 80% sure that is correct.
What's a Natalya? I've never heard of her. But yes, this... But as I say in the predictions video that hasn't come out yet.
It's out tomorrow.
Weird. But it doesn't matter, because the whole point of this tournament is to get over Io Sky and Dakota Kai. They're part of Bayley's new faction.
It felt like the whole tournament was designed for them.
Because they're new call-ups. They're great wrestlers. Io Sky is like one of the more exciting wrestlers in the whole roster, but they've not really been booked that well. But again, doesn't matter, because they're going to be the tag team champions.
And then go into a feud with Sasha Banks and Naomi, which will spin off into Banks versus Bayley, and it'll all be awesome.
Raquel Rodriguez and Aliyah just look... I wrote at the start, I like that this is getting the main event, even if it's super predictable.
I had almost the exact same, not the exact same note, but I was like, huh. I mean, this is going one way, and I sort of like phased out a little bit of actually watching the match. I was like, just gonna wait until Dakota and Io win the match here, and then I'll get on with the rest of my day, and I'll just finish up my notes here. Because Aliyah and Raquel, grand.
She's got a back.
She has got a back. That is 100, and she smiles. Those are her 2 character traits, which is 2 more than Aliyah has. And they had a backstage segment where I was like, this is going to be one of those times where I go onto a podcast and I say, bloody hell, they've got 0 chemistry. And I get 100 people telling me they're the best of friends. Look at their Instagram. They're always hanging out with each other. But blow me down, that does not translate to television. It feels like these 2 have only just met. Yeah. And they were like, oh man, we've got 30 seconds before this promo. Think of a thing to say. Think of what can we call ourselves? The bougie and the something. Oh, we'll figure it out it'll be all right on the night.
Yeah, they're called the bougie.
And the back, it was baddie, mate. I don't know what it was, but like my point is that they just feel like 2 nothings who got 0 chemistry and/or presence.
Io Sky and Dakota Kai, I grant you, are also a Franken team. They've been smushed together as the purpose of
character,
right? Yeah, but they've also got character. Gonzalez or Rodriguez and Aliyah. They feel like an act that was put together in the old regime. The one where you're just like, women.
Yeah.
Just going to put 2 women together.
Nia Jax and Sasha Banks. Oh, no, and what was her name? Shayna Baszler. Sorry. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. Natalia and Sonya Deville. You smush together.
Dana Brooke and Tamina.
Natalia and Tamina. You just go together.
Can someone in the chat please come up with a random women's tag division generator?
Ooh, I like it.
Let me look at the roster here. I'm just gonna spin my finger and see where it lands. Okay. So we've got Queen Zelina.
Nice. Tagging with.
Oh,
I hope it's Carmella.
Alexa Bliss.
Why not?
I feel like that's happened.
And they would go together because they're both like 5 foot tall.
Yeah. 5 feet of queendom.
Oh, there you go. I love it.
Do you want to go? Do SmackDown.
Oh, I'll do SmackDown.
So you've got it. You've not got much wiggle room.
Yeah. Okay. Oh no, I've gone too far. Liv Morgan.
Okay, the current champion.
Yeah, and Adam Pearce. Hold on. Xia Li.
Yeah, that's a classic team.
Yeah.
That like 4 months ago, before Liv won the belt, Liv would have been destined for that team together.
Because Xia Li would have been like, I'm the protector, and you keep getting beaten up by Becky Lynch, so I'm going to come in and protect you now before I randomly turn heel.
That's a long way of saying we're not fully into the idea of these 2 as champions. Great for them.
Lovely. I mean, they look very thrilled to win these belts that I thought were on a path to be relevant again. Mm-hmm. Turns out I was wrong. They're just on people now.
I've seen a lot of people also very happy. They're like, oh, you know what? I'm really happy for Aliyah and Rodriguez. Let's see where this goes because it's unpredictable. My stance on it is that, yeah, it was unpredictable, but in a bad way. And the reason it's bad is not a neg on Aliyah and Rodriguez, although that is what we've been doing for about 9 minutes now. It's more of how this makes Sky and Kai look. I feel like this will genuinely damage their momentum going forward. This is their debut month. They needed a big win like this to appear credible. But what's going to happen is this seems very much like the old NXT call-ups where you just lose.
Yeah.
And you've got this is your big chance to make a name for yourself. Oh, and you lose that one too. You're nothing more than Bayley's seconds. Hopefully they can rise up from that, but as of right now, I think that's a bad trajectory they're on.
And again, this is in our predictions video that's going out tomorrow. For me, this has killed a lot of the momentum that the 6-woman tag has for Clash at the Castle, which I think it's a shame as well because a lot of this show was doing a really good job of hyping up matches and building up the wrestlers that are going to be at Clash of the Castle. Like, the opening tag match, yeah, it weren't much, but Damian Priest and Finn Balor got a win. Damian Priest gets a win after the loss last week. It continues Dolph Ziggler's losing streak. That achieved so much, and it builds up a match that's coming up this Saturday, as well as stuff that'll happen on Monday. This loss just felt like no one will see it coming, so that's that. And yeah, like it makes them so mad going into this Saturday's match because they lost and now they're looking for revenge. But I feel like it's devalued the tag titles, which really felt like they needed some momentum behind them.
They needed some stars.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think this has done anything. This hasn't elevated Raquel or Aliyah either. If anything, it feels it's dragged the division down. They now just go into a feud with Dana Brooke and Tamina because that's the sort of level they feel at. I don't see Rodriguez going against some of the big stars. And apparently, according to Meltzer, the whole reason they won is because they want to give Rodriguez the big push.
Well, she was very well protected in this match.
She was the one that had the big hot tag.
She kicked out of Sky's moonsault. And that to me just...
To zero reaction.
Yeah, that's, one of the coolest looking moves today. And I was like, oh no.
When Aliyah got that blind tag, I was like, are they gonna win this?
Yeah, I was like, you don't want to be kicking out of that. That move should not be a near fall for the first year. If you're doing it right, if you're doing proper wrestling booking, which is what I thought Triple H was doing by and large, you protect that move.
So the other thing to mention of this match is that many people noted that Aliyah pinned Dakota Kai, who was not the legal woman in the match. Io Sky was.
Yeah.
So some people think that maybe this was actually done on purpose to protect Sky and Kai, and it would just be a reason for them to have a rematch down the line for the tag belts.
Why?
But if that's the case, and then Sky and Kai just win the belts, that becomes an even bigger why. It's like, why didn't you just have them win in the first place?
Yeah, especially like you said, you've beaten the people with the match on the pay-per-view. And that's generally bad booking.
And Aliyah lost in 5 minutes last week to Bayley, where she got no offense in whatsoever. Yeah. They've done nothing to make this team feel like a big deal. Like Adam turned around in the office earlier and said, I don't know why everyone's upset about the Raquel and Aliyah thing. I think it's a perfectly fine decision. And I was like, no one's mad about it. Everyone's puzzled by it. Everyone's like, I don't know why this has happened.
I've got a theory on Adam.
Okay.
He will...
He's thick.
This is what happens. Something big will happen on a Raw or an AEW, the shows we all watch in the office, and we'll come in. And Adam knows we've seen them.
Yeah.
And this will happen. Oh, that hugely controversial thing that I probably expect you didn't like? I liked it.
Oh,
that's what he does.
The Louis Dangle Twitter method.
Yeah. But he knows he's doing it to sort of...
well, Louis doesn't.
I think he's just gently prodding us. He's trolling us. But yeah, just to recap the match, Bayley interfered slightly. She was chased off by Belair, Bliss, and Asuka. I didn't like that visual. I didn't like the look of 3 people chasing off the heel. And then, it was this blind tag that Aliyah won, which is pretty similar to the finishes they've had in this tournament so far.
Yeah, it was a perfectly fine match, I guess.
I don't even think it was that good.
It was nothing special to it. It was like no one will remember this match happened in a handful of weeks outside of people being like, oh, that was a weird finish to the show, wasn't it? I don't think it achieved what it really set out to do. And if Banks and Naomi are coming back, which, the rumor has it that they are, I don't see them going into a feud with Aliyah and Rodriguez because, they're too big a stars to do that. I think if you're bringing them back, you want to feud them with, the top names. And unfortunately, we stuck the women's tag titles on 2 no names, and we aren't elevating them in the process.
Well, but we'll see where it goes from here. Let's see what your thoughts are on the Ultrachats. Remember, not the usual Ultrachats link. There is another link in the chat because we're experiencing some technical issues. Stevie Howlin says, I like the fact that Bayley's group won't immediately run into the Sasha Naomi return. The separation of the storylines is better for the women overall, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Adam made a similar point in the office, funny enough, where he was like, Sky and Kai are busy doing something else. And I was like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
They're currently feuding with some other people, but them having the tag belts doesn't stop that.
They are, what you mean is they're seconds to Belair versus Bayley.
And
which I don't think
I think that is the real damage of this, is that it does highlight them as you are just the muscle, and not even particular. Like, actually, no, kind of the muscle. Yeah, you're right. They're seconds to Bayley, who was the star.
The point of all of this is, of course, to get over Kai, get over Sky, but then also get over the women's tag belts. And I don't think holding off on the Sasha Naomi thing is the best idea here. I think you want to give that women's tag division all the respect and star power that it needs as soon as possible.
It makes me think that Stark and Lyons were probably supposed to win this.
Yeah, potentially.
Or like Toxic Attraction was supposed to win this. You know, the replacements.
Slick Rob, what is with Triple H booking Raquel to win a title that Dakota Kai should win? This is the third time that's happened.
She's got a massive back.
Great back. Nathan Portwoman, I decided to watch Raw from start to finish. Overall good show. When Aliyah disappeared, I knew what was up, but I was still as surprised as she was when they won. I miss Raquel's old gimmick, look and music.
I'll be honest, even in NXT, I thought Raquel's gimmick was, I have a back. I feel like they've brought her, they've added a smile to it now. But yeah, felt like that was her character.
Is this from Nathan or from someone called Luke?
Oh, I don't know.
It just says Luke. Best vegan dish? Cheers, gents.
There's two lads called Bosch. They do a wonderful, they call it a seaside pie. It's like a vegan fish pie. It is sensationally good. It is really, really, really special. If you're in London or Brighton, I would also recommend Ooey Vegan, which do like vegan burgers and stuff. I had a chicken burger from them yesterday. That was probably the best fake chicken burger I've ever eaten in my life. It was absolutely phenomenal.
To clarify, that was from Nathan. Mayor of Painesville, Dan. Hello, you wonderful people. Here is the thing. Put the titles on the babyface team, bring in Banks and Bayley, do a three-way so Aliyah can be pinned, and then have the big feud between Naomi and Banks and versus Dakota Sky. Also, Dexter Lumis is awesome.
I think you might be bringing Banks and Naomi as opposed to Bayley.
Yeah, I think that's complicated. Why would you add in this extra group?
That's what I'm guessing, Dan. The problem is you've added steps there that don't need to be there. Like if your whole thing is to do Banks and Naomi versus Bayley's lot, then just do that. Like you didn't have to add in this extra step here.
And if you want to elongate it, have Banks and Naomi return, and then I nearly said Banks and Bayley. It's because they were a team for so long. That's what my brain says.
The original champs.
Yeah. If you bring in Banks and Naomi, if you've got a heel tag team champions like Kai and Sky, they can just say, no, you have to beat every single other team in this division before you get to us. And then you got like a 3-month story you can do there. That's how you elongate it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And finally, for now, Gabriel Reyes. I'm surprised that no one is talking about that Dakota was not the legal person. Io was. It was a very strange ending, I feel. There's
every chance that will be used to the story. As I said, like if it's a way to put the belts on Kai and Sky, then I think you may as well just put the belts on them in the first place rather than needlessly facilitate a second match. But I'm also I really do feel like it's never going to be brought up. Like it's just going to be something that fans notice, but it's not actually going to be like Swerve and Our Glory won the belts in the same way, where like apparently the legal man wasn't the one that was pinned, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, this will be the rematch." Never brought up again. Like sometimes these things don't. Sometimes people just get the wrong person pinned.
Yeah, some things are just mistakes. But try telling that to AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, who just tossed that US title back and forth for a couple of months.
I reckon they did it on purpose. Oops, oh no, I won the belt again.
Please do keep getting your chats in. We'll read out every single one over $5 to the link in the chat. Not the usual link because there's technical issues. Right, so this episode of Raw was from Pittsburgh, which had Kurt Angle appearing, and it was the go-home show for Clash at the Castle. Again, just like last week in Toronto, I can't believe I'm actually remembering where Raw's taking place first off. But I woke up excited for this.
Yeah, me too. I actually have been for the last few weeks with Raw now.
The the opening match was AJ Styles and Dolph Ziggler taking on Finn Balor and Damian Priest.
I thought, oh, poor AJ, you ain't getting a win here, are you, bud?
I saw Dolph come out and I thought, but the Ziggler Naissance.
Yeah, that's what you're going with.
This is a Renaissance. He won't win, but he'll have a great showing. And he's with AJ. Like, they protect AJ pretty well. Oh, no, okay, it was a 10-minute match.
Yeah, it was a 10-minute match and the Judgment Day won. Which I think is the right decision.
Yes.
They've got the big match of the pay-per-view. They announced later on that's going to be Judgment Day versus Edge and Rey. So the smart thing to do here is to give Judgment Day the win. Priest lost last week, so Priest is the one that got the win here as well. So that builds Priest back up, gives Finn another win as well. And Dolph is on this losing streak storyline where he hasn't got it anymore, so he's the perfect person to pin. This is a very, very smart, simple way to further two storylines.
Yeah, I just push against AJ here.
Oh yeah, no AJ in this position.
If Ziggler wants, AJ has history with Judgment Day, but I would have much preferred Ziggler go, I'm on a losing streak. I need to beat these guys. They're a tag team. He finds a tag partner that is not AJ, and they have a match. Like Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali.
He's already in a tag team. They're in a tag team together.
Yeah, well, 3-on-2.
Well, I mean, later on, when the Mysterios help Edge to beat up Judgment Day, Jimmy Smith's like, the numbers game's even now. And I was like, no, it isn't. It's 3-on-2.
It's like everyone can't see Rhea Ripley.
She can't get involved. The second they attack, Rhea has to get out of the ring.
So the match itself was just fine. Nothing spectacular.
Nope.
Less than the sum of its parts, I would say. But it was all about the angle afterwards. Judgment Day win thanks to a bit of interference from Ripley. Edge is shown arriving. He comes straight out. Still, he's angry, but he'll do his entrance.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has some cute lines. He says that Judgment Day are only here because they didn't get tickets to My Chemical Romance. Funny.
I mean, they are our band.
And then it was like, but I haven't come alone. And the Mysterios jumped Judgment Day with kendo sticks. Rhea Ripley did some, in Jurassic World, when Rhea Ripley, when Chris Pratt calms down the Velociraptors.
Oh yeah.
That's what Rhea Ripley did, but then she effed him.
Well, yeah. See, I mean, what I think a lot of people are missing here is this was a wonderful bit of visual storytelling, which was Rhea Ripley telling Dom to hand over his boner. It belongs to her now.
You don't get to have a boner.
Unless I say so.
I say.
And I'm going to use it on you. Because Dom's there with his boner in hand. Yeah. And Rhea's like, Dom, mate, I think you'll find that belongs to Mummy now. And Dom was like, you're right, Mummy. It does belong to you now. And
wow.
Wow. I've been naughty, Mummy.
Yeah.
Hands over his boner. And then Edge and Ray get in the ring and be like, what are you doing? And then Rhea Ripley escapes, or the Judgment Day pull her out the ring. And then Edge and Ray were like, yeah, good one, bro.
Yeah,
didn't hit a woman.
Almost had her.
Maybe next time.
And Dom's like, oh, God, I've got such a... Someone give me a pillow. Anyone
got a pie to hand?
So, yeah, we'll just... No, we'll come back to that later. Kevin Patrick tried to interview The Miz backstage about being kidnapped. Miz does not want to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote in my notes here, recap of the Miz getting kidnapped, and then the next segment, he's just there and was like, oh, he's fine. It's okay.
I know what you mean, and I thought that initially, because we're so used to these big things, particularly kidnap storylines being, and here they are, everything's fine, there's no legal ramifications. That's very much an old regime trait. I think they did enough throughout the episode to make it okay.
I wrote this in my notes. This is the first time The Miz has done something of interesting note, probably since the 2016 two-week run he had with Dolph Ziggler.
You always talk. There was an episode of Talking Smack in 2016,
and that is the last time The Miz. This is character.
He's been WWE champion since then.
Yeah, well, he beat Bobby Lashley. They mentioned that on this episode, or he lost it to Bobby Lashley. He beat Drew. It's actually something for him to perform in matches. He's got a character now. He's got a storyline that he's progressing to because something clearly happened with Dexter Lumis. I'd imagine probably a lot like what happened with Rhea and Dominic Mysterio, and he does not want to talk about what happened. So he's just like pushing Ciampa away. There was a moment during his match with Bobby Lashley where Dexter Lumis appeared in the crowd and he was like, Ciampa, go get him. Miz doesn't want to go there. He's like, Ciampa, you go get him. And it led to the loss. And Miz was like, I'm out of here. I'm gone. We'll get to that later.
Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka took on three sort of local wrestlers called Dani Moe, Katie Arquette, and Kayla Sparks.
Apparently one of them was on AEW Dark at the same time.
I mean, it's a probability thing at this point. If anyone who isn't signed to WWE appears on a WWE show, they are likely at the exact same time in a video that's just been uploaded as AEW Dark.
Mm-hmm. Someone just in the chat says, "I see we're forgetting Miz versus Shane." I think we all need to let's not pretend that was a good feud. It was just a very silly WrestleMania match.
That was an amazing match.
Yeah, for not like wrestling reasons, for sports entertainment reasons, amazing.
I don't care. We've got to include that as that is something great Miz has done.
Was it Miz or was it Miz Dad? Because Miz Dad was the star of that show.
Asuka won with an Asuka lock. It was just a way to give them momentum.
Smart stuff.
Definitely did not then need them to cost the heels the match in the main event.
I quite like this as a simple 6-woman tag because they've got the 6-woman tag at the pay-per-view. I more like this. I think
that makes sense. Yeah. Adam Pearce offered Miz counseling backstage. And that's when Pearce revealed that, look, you won't talk about it. You won't talk about it to the police. That you won't press charges. That means Dexter Lumis, he's free. So the Chekhov's Lumis is cocked.
What if they're working together now?
Well, maybe. Kurt Angle then comes out, and it is always a treat to see thousands of people yell, "You suck," at a beloved wrestling star.
Corey Graves on commentary to be like, if you're new to this show, it's an endearing thing. Like, we're doing it because we love him.
He gets out there, he has like 4 words, and as he was talking, I was like, oh man, Chad Gable better come out. Shoosh! Chad Gable comes out and he invites Kurt to join the Alpha Academy. They have some fun comedy. I've seen some people be like, this was awkward, went on too long.
Oh, I disagree.
I loved it.
I thought it was really, really funny. Chad had this great line when he said something about, your local sports team or whatever, and the crowd booed. And he's like, guys, don't boo. We've got an Olympic hero in the ring. And Kurt Angle. But it was really, really good. He even said, "Excuse me, baking powder." He's my guy, is Chad Gable. He likes all the movies that I do.
What movie is that?
It's Wayne's World. Shoosh is from Encino Man in America, California Man as we know it here. and then they got into a shooshing battle with each other. I thought this was terrific. This should have been the father and son pairing.
Oh my God.
Should have been the father and son pairing.
No disrespect to Jason Jordan. I thought he ended up doing really well out of that until his injury.
Yeah, gold-blooded.
This was what it was. Street Profits came down for the save as baby faces. Now, I've got to... Should I say it?
Yeah, you do it. It's fine.
They were dressed in black and gold. And I just heard the commentators go, "Hey, look, they're in black and gold." And I wrote down in my notes, how silly. It's another Triple H NXT reference, another subtle, egotistical nod. Turns out, as every single person has fairly told me on my news video earlier today, it's the colours of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I went through the comments because there was a little bit of teasing in the WrestleTalk news video. I was like, I want to go see if there's any reaction to it. Oh, something in between the two things.
I think... found your glasses.
Yes.
You've been looking for those sunglasses
I've been looking
forever.
for them ages. They were right next to my Magic Spoon box, as it turns out.
Great cereal.
It really was. And is. And I was like, let's go see what the reaction to this is. And all I saw was Ollie, Pittsburgh Steelers. Ollie, the black and gold's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Ollie, the black and gold's this. And I turned to Andy and I said, oh no, Andy, Ollie got a sports thing wrong. Now every comment is talking about the sports thing.
I get it, because nobody... when you leave a comment, you generally watch the thing that happens and you write the comment. You don't realise...
I don't.
You don't leave comments.
No, I watch something, and then if I notice a mistake, I'll go through the comments to see if anyone's already pointed it out. Because the last thing they need is someone else pointing out that they made a mistake.
Well, you're a god among men.
Thank you.
But I totally get it. It's exhausting being corrected by about 200 people. But it's my mistake. It's my mistake. But just it's a very YouTuber problem. Like first world problems. YouTuber problems. That is...
it's the last thing you'll think of before you fall asleep tonight. Yeah.
But it's my mistake, so I own it. Street Profits then took on Alpha Academy with quite a nice stakes of Kurt Angle's soul being on the line.
I love this. Yeah, because like they said, we'll have a match, and Chad Gable was like, all right, but if we win, Kurt Angle has to join the Alpha Academy. Simple stakes added to this match. And like the crowd didn't get into the match whatsoever. Like you could hear a pin drop for some of the near falls at the end, which is a real shame because I thought it was a really, really good match between these two. A lot of fun, really good near falls, really good fast paced action. The crowd just didn't care for it. But I actually liked the drama of Kurt Angle possibly, because there was part of me that was like, oh, I would like them to win though, because I want to see the three of them together. But also, I want to see Kurt Angle drink milk with the Street Profits afterwards, because that's bound to happen. Either way, I'm a happy boy.
I started fantasy booking in my head. Kurt just slaps Ford on the ropes or something, and that leads to... And it was all a setup. And then Kurt is with Chad. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. The Street Profits won. Yeah, really fun match, particularly near the end. Dawkins did this pounce on Otis that sent Otis over the announcer's table. It looked brilliant. And just when nostalgia acts were brought back in the past, they'd generally be either used to bury current talent or humiliated. So if we didn't like the nostalgia act, they'd bury our favorite wrestlers. If we did like the nostalgia act,
they lose to Baron Corbin at WrestleMania.
Baron Corbin. Vince hated us. He resented us. But what we got here was a really nice win. Afterwards, the Street Profits gave him some beer. Should not give Kurt Angle beer. I'm pretty sure he's, alcohol-free for ages. So he spat it out, and he got the milk bottles up, and they celebrated drinking milk.
It was a delightful, delightful scene. Really glad that we're carrying on that Street Profits breaking up storyline.
Yeah. Do you think that's gone?
I think the Street Profits themselves were trying to get it dropped because the commentary team kept telling it, and they weren't. And then I thought maybe they are going to do something after the SummerSlam match, which I still don't really get with all the Jeff Jarrett stuff. But here, they're just fine. They're together, and they're on the same page.
They wrestled Seth for a bit. And that's it.
That's it. I'm glad to see that the milk was fine this time. Did you see Kurt Angle tell the story recently?
The curdled milk for Rock.
So like they had a scene it was during the invasion of Kurt Angle and The Rock, and afterwards they celebrate with some milk together, but the milk had just been left out all day and had curdled. And so when they cheers it, if you watch it, Rock drinks it and immediately spits it out because like, oh my God. This appears to be fresh milk.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Because at one point, he starts chucking them to people in the crowd. I'm like, holy crap! I thought they were glass bottles, but no, they were like plasticky bottles.
Yeah, Tony the Milkman coming down and glassing people.
All right, who else wants one? After that, we got... Honestly, the Kurt thing that came up later, which we'll cover, this segment and the Usos, Kevin Owens stuff, and Sami Zayn, I thought was top Raw. Like, these were genuinely great bits. I put these segments alongside AEW segments.
Yep.
Really good stuff. Riddle and Rollins. There's footage of them having a brawl in the parking lot earlier in the day.
Jimmy Smits was like, you won't believe this shocking footage. And I was like, oh, I know I can believe it because I saw them do this last week with lots of camera angles.
Yeah, it's more of the same really, for the last few weeks. And because of that, it couldn't be face-to-face. It had to be in separate locations. Corey Graves conducted the interview.
Was in a third location. WWE, for all the improvements they're making, cannot stage things. Still haven't quite worked out how to stage things.
Well, for this, I thought it worked.
No, Riddle and Rollins worked completely fine. Like, that was awesome. It's the Corey Graves bit. Corey Graves got up from the desk and be like, I've got to go conduct this interview now. And then just walked to where Kevin Patrick is. So why didn't Kevin just do this?
Yeah.
And if it's Corey, just do it from the commentary desk. They cannot stage these things.
I disagree on this one. I think this was fine for what they were trying to do. So it was Seth and Riddle, and they exchanged the usual, I'm going to beat you, I don't like you, I'm going to turn you into another Cody Rhodes, all that stuff. And at the end, Riddle says, I'm going to prove there's only one man in Seth's marriage, his wife, Becky Lynch, the man, stuff like that. Cute line, there's your go home angle. Goes to break, comes back. Bad Bunny's won an award. And then the commentary team are like, well, we're going to show you some footage because we went to break, but the interview segment, after they thought the mics were off, carried on. And they show this footage, and Seth just drops all of the stuff. And he goes cold, like a cold killer, and he just says, Oh, you want to talk about my family? Let's talk about yours. Your wife divorced you. She took the kids, and they don't want to see your bitch ass anymore. And Riddle exploded like, I'm going to F you up, censored it. This was phenomenal.
This was so good. This was amazing. Because you're right, like the first half of this, which was just like standard promos, nothing really to it. But that's by design.
Yeah.
Because it's all about what comes here. And I thought this was so great. Like from like the whole thing of like, yep, and we're clear. And Riddle be like, okay, cool, are we done? And Seth's like, hey, Matt, you still there? Like, yeah, I'm still here. And then they have this whole thing. Riddle's like expletive explosion. Where are you? Where I'm going to come find you. I thought this was so great. I've really enjoyed the build that these two have had going into the match this coming Saturday, and I think they've done a really great job with this. And I thought this go home angle with just a couple of lines made it one of the most anticipated matches for the weekend.
I think the build has been fine. At the end of the day, to me, it's just a couple of guys brawling over and over again. But this one line at the end, I love this blood feud now. I cannot wait to see them wrestle. Seth, interestingly, and I think it's what helped it work so well, when he's doing the full interview. He dropped it all. This was no longer Raw Pro Wrestling.
Gimmick.
This was like, no, this is real. And it made me realize, actually, and it's something I've been kind of aware of because Seth laughs. I'm like, oh, just shut up and go away. I don't like Seth's current character. This was great.
Yeah.
That's the Seth I want. Manipulative, evil Seth. Not comic book, comic-y laughing Seth.
More of that Triple H slow resetting of just like going back to NXT characters that I like.
Yeah, I hope so. Great angle. Bobby Lashley took on The Miz next.
This was for the US title, and no one could give me a reason as to why.
I think everybody who competed in the shot to get a US title now also gets a shot.
That really undermines the...
Yeah.
Because Ciampa had to win 2 matches in order to get that shot at Bobby, and all the people that lost got a shot at Bobby.
It was that first 2 weeks, it felt like the US title was really being elevated, and now it feels like, just a thing to fill some time on the show, which is a shame.
It's a good way to fill time because Bobby Lashley's entrance is so long. Spin around for it just goes on for ages.
Miz is still doing his sort of PTSD kidnap victim angle, so initially his mind isn't in the match, but Ciampa starts to interfere. Miz gets on top to the extent where he's going to beat Bobby Lashley.
I don't know if I would have thought that. Yeah.
And then Dexter Lumis appears at the top of the stands. Miz gets distracted, says, Ciampa, go after him. Ciampa turns round. Lumis is gone. Ciampa's like, what? Miz gets put in the Hurt Lock and loses.
Do you want to talk about the final angle that they have?
Well, first off, do you think was Lumis really there?
Oh. I hope so. Because the whole crowd saw him. The whole crowd, and actually the commentators saw him as well. So I feel like if Ciampa's the only person that didn't see him.
Didn't the commentators also see Warrior?
They did, yes. And we, the audience, did also see Warrior, I guess.
And just look, Triple H has done some really good stuff. But also, let's not forget that NXT in recent years has been insane sometimes. Here's a 1,000-year-old woman.
Yeah, they've done haunted houses.
Yeah. So
they're actually haunted.
I just, Miz has got PTSD. I think I've got PTSD from Vince era.
Did you not think he was in the car either?
Do you want to talk about the car?
Well, I mean, only because it really made me laugh. So, like, Miz leaves the building. Ciampa runs up to him and he's like, hey, Miz, do you want to talk about what happened? And Miz is like, no, I don't. I just want to go home. He gets to his car. Kevin Patrick runs up and was like, hey, Miz, do you want to talk about what happened? He was like, no, will you off? I'm trying to just go home. He gets in his car and he drives off. And you just see Dexter Lumis's face in the back seat. Where to, Stephanie? And I did have this thought. I was like, oh, I hope Dexter's driving the car so he can do that. But no, he's in the back of the car and the crowd popped for him. Credit to Trips and WWE here. The crowd are popping for Dexter Lumis, which if you'd have said to me 12 months ago when he was in NXT, I was like, that'll never happen because he's quite boring. but they've done a really good job of making him feel like a big deal.
So where do they go from here? What possible payoffs could this have for the Miz and Loomis?
Could be that Miz uses Loomis as his new lackey instead of Ciampa. Maybe the Miz becomes the lackey to Loomis.
So has Loomis kidnapped the Miz, and Miz has fallen in love with Loomis?
I don't mind it.
But then
he's going to divorce Indy Hartwell so we can marry Miz instead.
But in that case, so the kidnap angle was a ruse because they're always in cahoots?
Oh, I don't know. There's also part of me that doesn't care. Is that bad? Because I don't.
This is the problem. They've made me care.
This is the thing, is like, I am intrigued to know where it goes next, but I don't care enough to fancy book it. It's a weird little thing because I've never really encountered something like this before. I do want to see what the next chapter of this, but I'm also not bothered by what the next step is.
Oh, well, surely we got this with Who Run Over Roman Reigns.
No, they killed my interest in that when it wasn't Buddy Murphy.
Yeah.
And then it was Eric Rowan's twin brother.
Oh, that was so
funny. It's like every week they were like, how can we undermine this storyline further? Yeah, I'm not that bothered, but I do want to see it.
I'm not fantasy booking. I want to make that clear. I cannot think of a single way this storyline works, which concerns me.
Also, it doesn't involve AJ anymore either.
Yeah. Yes, that makes me think that AJ was always a red herring, that Loomis was actually watching The Miz.
Oh, it was AJ versus Miz, wasn't it?
Which is actually a really smart misdirection.
Very good. I like that.
But yeah. I did not see this coming. This was so sweet. Edge comes up to Kurt Angle backstage.
Sorry. Loomis. It's a tag team name. They're Loomis. Dexter Loomis.
It's worth it for that alone. But I don't think you want Loomis. I don't think you want Loomis. Miz is goofy.
Dexter Loomis is named after a serial killer named Dexter and a detective that went after the serial killer Michael Myers.
Yeah.
He's got a goofy name.
Yeah, I can't figure it out. So backstage,
he's a goofy character.
In the locker room backstage, Kurt is there and Edge comes up to him and he's got some pictures of their career. And Kurt's like, I'm not falling for this again because you've got nasty comments written on the other side and I hold them up to the camera. And Edge is like, no, look. And the first one's blank on the back. He's like, oh, okay, I'll read these. And he starts to look at the pictures. And it's nice things. I'm sorry I beat you for the US title. I'm sorry I shaved your head.
But it's also highlighting all of the times that he's embarrassed Kurt. But it was something in sort of like a loving way. I mean, Edge didn't really try with this. See how small the pictures were that he printed off and put on? Like, these are massive placards. And he printed off, I would say, postcard-size images.
You're rocking about 100 pixels, I think. He's not saved it in the correct file format.
He hasn't, no.
Or PNG Edge.
He hasn't put it into Photoshop, trying to enlarge it somewhat.
No. Terrible image quality.
But it was the old gag that they did back in the day where the stuff written on the side of it, and it ends with, you still suck. And then Kurt Angle walks over to Rey and Dominic Mysterio and is like, look at this nice thing that Edge did for me. And then he sees the back and realizes what has happened. And he says this line, Christ, on Friday, he did it again.
What was our favorite recent Kurt line? The production. Oh my God. You remember the production trucks?
Oh my God, that's millions of dollars.
Oh my God, it's millions of dollars. But he was just so rubbish at delivering that line. I thought that, it was the way Edge said, but seriously, man, I love you. And it was a really nice just reflection of them and where they are now. I found it incredibly heartwarming.
It was very endearing. And then Rey and Dominic had a chat where Dominic told his father that he's going to turn on him this weekend.
Yeah. After that, we got some nice Connor's Cure stuff, Titus in the front row, really sweet. And then we got...
This was my favorite thing on the show.
And it was like 45 minutes long, I think. Excellent. The Bloodline come out, Usos and Sami Zayn as sort of... has anyone made a Sami Zayn's the third Uso joke?
I think some people have tweeted me to say that.
So they came out as sort of the Silver Surfer to Roman Reigns' 2-year title celebration, which is just perfect timing with Clash at the Castle on a Saturday. And Sami had all this great stuff. Said, well, the real good thing is that he's appointed me as the MC. And he turns and Jay's looking right at him and he just cuts off the mic.
I love this because if you haven't seen SmackDown, there's this amazing show-long storyline of like Jimmy just seems to be fine with Sami. Like they've got their own little special handshake and stuff, and it's quite sweet. But Jey doesn't like Sami, and he doesn't like how Sami is working his way into the bloodline. But Roman seems to really like him as well. And I don't think Jey can work out what Roman's plan is with Sami. And Jimmy, on this show here, Jimmy cuts this promo about the bloodline. Here's what we're doing. Here's what's going to happen this Saturday. Jey is about to cut a promo, and Sami's like, and the most exciting thing about it is, of all the people he could have cut off in this segment, he unfortunately cut off Jey, which just makes Jey hate him more.
And Sami's not doing it to be a dick.
No, he's not.
He's just a bit, he's trying so hard.
He's trying so hard to fit in. And he just wants to be on their t-shirts.
3 fantastic promos in that ring. Sami Zayn, both Usos. And then, of course, Kevin Owens walks out.
I wrote in my notes here, in all caps, OS, Sami's in the ring. Like, I was like, oh my God, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
All caps. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to happen. Owens says that the Bloodline don't run Monday Night Raw. It's the Kevin Owens show. And remind Roman that he owes me one after that Drew match. Just like keeping those details going. Great stuff.
Speaking of that, like Jey looks down the ramp, sees Kevin Owens, and then he turns to Sami and he goes, that your boy? And Kevin Owens is like, yes, Sami, am I your boy? So like, yeah, I guess he is, but you know, things have changed since then.
Sami is just put in this wonderful position. Again, like he's trying to do good in this heel world. And he says, oh, look, here it is. Here's how it is, Kevin. Roman Reigns doesn't owe you or anyone anything ever. It's a great line. And then KO says, it's sad to see how far you've fallen. The sort of stupid beard and haircut you have these days. You've forgotten you're one of the best wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, I love this story so much. Sami hears this, and you can see he understands what Kevin O is saying, but like internally ignores it because he believes what he's doing with the bloodline is the right thing for him. So he starts to justify it, not to Kevin, but to himself. Be like, no, the bloodline like me. Jimmy likes me. Look at our little handshake here. Jey, well, we're working on that.
So funny.
But Roman likes me. Roman Reigns invited me into his private dressing room. Roman Reigns has me as the MC. It was the 4 of us standing tall on Friday. Like it was just a brilliantly cool promo. And he's like, Kevin, I really think you need to go now. Kevin pretends to leave, and then he walks back into the ring and he gets in the face of Jey and he's like, don't think I forgot that it's because of you and Paul Heyman that I didn't beat Roman Reigns 18 months ago for the Universal Championship. So I think we should have a match now. Brilliant. What a wonderful bit of continuity. I thought this was a home run of a segment.
Jey gets right in his face off the back of that. And like, no, he doesn't say anything. And Owens says, I think this is the part where we just drop the microphones, get a referee out here and have a fight, right? And he delivered it so low. It was so threatening. Kevin Owens has his character down perfectly. He can walk into sort of any storyline and just make it all about him in a very productive, enhancing way for everyone else.
He's a perfect character as well because he is a great example of shades of grey. He is neither heel nor face. He is Kevin Owens.
But he's got a moral code that he adheres to.
Exactly. And it's never faltering in that.
And then this turned into Owens versus Jey Uso. Really good match with the added... Like, I think Owens' recent matches have actually been better in ring, but this had the added layer of Sami outside, caught in the middle. 6 Samoan drop spot from Jey onto Kevin Owens, onto the steel steps. But the big angle at the end is the Usos are distracting the referee. They tell Sami to use the chair on Owens, and Sami just hesitates just a bit. You could almost argue he was worried the referee was going to turn around.
That's the argument he was making to the Usos. It's like, the referee was right there. I couldn't do it.
But KO stunned Jey because of that hesitation to win. And the Usos were angry, but, you know, Sami, he's got that out. This is great character work.
I cannot wait for the reuniting of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and then the eventual match they'll have with the Usos. Because let me tell you, that'll be a banging match.
Yeah, and then it's the start of, a match like Sami comes out all shaved after all those years.
Haircut. Brings back the little flat cap thing again. Bring back the proper music.
I've written here in my promo notes, I wasn't going to say this, but because I don't think it's the right analogy, but it's the best I could come up with. I feel like the Berlin Wall has fallen, and people long kept apart from their original gimmicks and partners are seeing each other for the first time in decades. That's what I feel like.
I like it. Get David Hasselhoff out there.
It's cathartic. But yeah, great stuff, and I cannot wait for that feud. Then we had the other bits. We also had a Gargano promo back, which was filmed earlier in the day, and it was Theory just coming in, sitting with him in the stands and saying... just negging him, really. Really well done.
Yeah, so because Gargano made the point of I've been gone for 9 months, the longest I've ever been away from the ring, and Theory never called me in those 9 months, which, it bums me out a little bit. And Theory sort of sees him and he walks up to him and he's like, hey, when I won the US title, you didn't call me either. When I won Money in the Bank, you didn't call me either. And I think it's because you're jealous. You're jealous that you didn't get to do those things. It's not the biggest follow-up to Gargano's big return, but he's not on the pay-per-view this weekend. So you use your TV time elsewhere to build up the pay-per-view.
I totally agree. You want to... you don't want to rush that ahead and get it on the card. You give it time to breathe, just like they did with Seth and Riddle, because this Saturday, it is a 6-match card.
I hope they don't just add 4 matches to this card across the week.
WWE Takeover. We've been set with there's been so many months where we're like, oh yeah, but they're going to add this and this and this,
and they don't.
And they haven't.
No, they've got it down, dude.
Right, so we haven't got any Patreon shout-outs for today, but please do go over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk. Sign up there because you can get your own shout-outs in this WrestleTalk on the WrestleTalk podcast and the WrestleTalk news.
Yeah, and we had quite a lot of content go up over the month of August. The Luke and Dan mailbag show. We had WrestleTalk behind the scenes. Me, Ollie, Pete, and Tempest.
Episode 1 of that,
talking about behind the scenes of WrestleTalk podcast and WrestleTalk news. We had After Dark with a very, very cool lineup. And we had mine and Ollie's review of SummerSlam 2005. Where the F is Vicky?
Yeah. Really, really relevant to the Dominic stuff.
Yeah.
So go and you can listen to those exclusive podcasts by going over to there. Last call for Ultrachats. Go to the link in the chat because the normal link's broken. Tails P says, Aliyah's gimmick was always surprise roll-ups, and Raquel's gimmick is Io and Dakota never beat me. I guess they only lost because Bailey left. Hi, Moss. Kurt has on his giant shooting outfit. Huh?
I guess I thought Kurt might go for a Kurt looked like he was dressed to wrestle.
Mm-hmm. Tag match for Sexy Kurt. All Pittsburgh teams are black and yellow. Ollie. Well, I know that now. The line in question was, do you want to do referee?
Kurt, Braun's headed towards the production trucks.
Oh, God, they are worth $12 million. I think that was the delivery.
Yeah.
But he mumbled it more. Ben Vlerick. Riddle Rollins segment clearly inspired by UFC interviews, specifically Daniel Cormier and John Jones. Yeah, so that interview, exact same thing played out. John Jones was really nice. Interview ended, but they were still being broadcast, and John Jones was just like a douchebag to him.
Because UFC is as scripted as pro wrestling is.
Hopefully they'll borrow more from MMA, like submissions not being locked in forever. How brutal is an ankle lock, really, if it took 5 minutes to make HBK tap, lol?
It's also not real.
What, MMA?
No, wrestling. it's a drama.
Yeah. Craig Kell. Hey guys, I'm so surprised with the way WWE as a whole is evolving under Triple H, and it's got me so excited for Clash at the Castle. Side note, I'm coming down for Glasgow for Saturday and have never been in London. Any recommendations before I head over to join her on worship?
Ooh, what would you recommend people do in London?
This is for our live show. We're doing a live watch along, folks. And Craig is coming. To do it, well, there's famously not much to do in London.
Yeah,
there's loads.
Yeah, go taking a show, taking a matinee. Oh, in order to do a matinee performance, that'll probably end at 5 in the West End.
What can you do between the hours of 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. on a Saturday in London?
Drink?
Yeah. Go to the largest pub in the UK. Brewdog in Waterloo. It just opened. They've got a
Why
slide.
are you so obsessed with Tory Waterstones?
Because they've got a slide in there.
Weatherspoons even. Damn, I messed up my own joke. Damn it.
Craig Kell. Oh, sorry, I just said that.
Actually, just while we're on that subject, obviously we sold out our watch along for Clash of the Castle at the Joiner on Worship in Shoreditch. Thank you everyone who's bought a ticket. We're really looking forward to seeing everyone there. So I know that there are some people who are going to be disappointed that they can't be part of the party. Well, fear not, because we are live streaming our reactions to Clash at the Castle live from the Joiner on Worship. And I'm so excited. Me and producer Rich went down there a couple of weeks ago to do some tech tests. They were successful. So we now can announce we are doing a live stream reactions as per usual from the venue where we're hosting the live party. It's going to be great.
We've bought equipment to make this run well. Armageddon 94, 4-month Memberg. I doubt they'll do this, but it might be interesting to have Theory address that this happened to him in NXT and try to reach out to The Miz. That might be a bit too confusing for mainstream viewers.
Yeah.
But I do like that.
I think there are certain aspects of NXT continuity you want to bring up. Like, they didn't really do much of Dakota Kai and Raquel, who are former tag team champs together. Like, she was the bodyguard fella, but they're never really played into any of the match.
Bernie Botts. Seth Rollins has not missed since he turned heel. Let's forget about the thing with Ray's eye. I genuinely want him to become WWE or Universal Champion. Riddle has been on fire as well. Love the more serious attitude from him.
I love the fact he's got his first name back.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about that. He's Matt Riddle again.
So much better than just calling him Riddle.
Austin Theory next, do you think?
I reckon so. A lot of, so many websites keep saying that Angel and Umberto have got their names back, but it's not reflected on WWE.com. But Matt Riddle is.
Ten Ruzza. This was a bit slower. This was a bit of a slower Raw. Terrible first tag champs for the returning titles. KO Zane and the Usos was gold. Riddle Rollins doing the John Jones Daniel Cormier heat segment was great. Pumped for this weekend. Sasha, Naomi next Raw, please. Rock versus Reigns.
I still think they're doing Rock versus Reigns at Mania, but it doesn't need the titles. That's good.
Yeah.
I'll hot tag across. Finn Brennan says, hello, gentlemen. Just want to say I'm looking forward to meeting you in person this weekend. Finally, after the Patreon calls, I have great faith that you guys are wonderful people. Lots of love. The Findicator, Finn Brennan.
Can't wait to meet you, Finn.
That's going to be so good. Charles Berg. So I make a dog calendar every year featuring my 5-day-a-week dogs. I'm wondering if you'd like one. It'd be an American calendar, so no European holidays are marked. But I'll send a note on each dog's name. I'll need info on where to send it if you'd like one.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, I'm a cat person.
Yeah.
But, and you hate dogs.
Famously.
But Adam, Laurie, I think they all love...
Laurie's a cat person as well.
He likes dogs as well.
Yeah, he's just got a cat.
Yeah.
And Andy's a cat person because and Pete's just about to get a cat as well. I feel like we're a cat
We're a very cat office, but Adam and Terry, I think, love dogs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, send it in. Jenna should be able to. Mother
Jenna can
sort that out. But thank you, Charles.
The 666 Sentinel says, Ollie implying that Vince was the Berlin Wall of wrestling is strangely accurate. The Loomis appearing in Mrs. Carr reminded me of Undertaker's buckle up teddy bit when he kidnapped him in his limo. I think Stephanie one was always the better one.
I think the Berlin Wall is a great wrestling move name.
It's the Berlin Wall, brother.
Yeah.
The Guilty Hat. Honestly, really surprised at how excited I am for Clash after the last few weeks. I bought tickets to support bringing big wrestling shows to the UK, and it's only a 10-minute walk from my house. Just hope it lives up to the hype now, or we get Sami on the show. I think Sami will be there.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely getting involved in the main event.
In the main event, yeah.
And Ten Roses said, would love a new design for the unified titles. Would love it to be one women's title, one world, one tag, and build the US and IC titles as each brand's own titles. Really want Sasha and Naomi back already. Keen for a great Clash and all-out show. Worlds collide also.
Big old weekend.
I think the report is that they are going to split the belts up again, and it's just going to be each brand will have a world, a tag, a women's, and a mid-card belt. And
that's what it should be.
Yeah.
I think you missed one. Dodsy155. So which version of Ollie will we get at the watch-along party? Standard Ollie? Ollie Authority Ollie? Kawaii Ollie? Or Painmaker Ollie? Mod Mother, can we get a poll, please? Well, it's too late for a poll, unfortunately. It's Standard Ollie.
Regular Ollie will be in attendance. And if you want to hear us talk more about Clash of the Castle, tomorrow here on the WrestleTalk Podcast channel at 3 p.m. UK time, our predictions video for Clash of the Castle will be going live here on the WrestleTalk Podcast. It will also be available in the audio feeds.
Well, I think Sean, with no message, is just...
Keep up the good work, lads. really pleased that Raw is good at last.
So are we. We're really enjoying it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, please.
It's your final week.
Oh, crap. Yeah, we're going back to AEW.
Yeah. So is this... I mean, do we want to say this is going to be the final time?
Yeah, it'll be someone else.
Yeah, it'll be me and someone else, yeah.
Oh, shucks.
You and I have been doing this together for... Shucks, how long have we been doing this, man?
A month.
No, going back to the old T-shirt days.
Yeah.
2017?
Yeah.
You and I started doing Raw reviews together.
I didn't even think of this.
It's the last time you and I will do a Raw podcast together, on a regular basis at the very least.
Yeah.
I'll have a different co-host sitting in your chair. Obviously, they'll never replace you. But they'll have to do.
Yeah.
I actually don't know who it is yet either.
Yes, we've got to figure that out.
Yeah, and soon. It's next week.
But thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. Please give us a subscribe for those predictions tomorrow and jam that jam.
Jam that jam, everyone. Have a great day.